Good evening, Singapore, and to all our viewers across the globe. Greetings to you, our friends, partners, and supporters. Welcome to Bayanihan Talks webinar series. I am Minerva Lau, a member of the board of the Philippine Bayanihan Society Singapore, and your host. We hope you are all keeping safe and well. Tonight, the topic is about keeping healthy and fit. We will hear about carbs, fats, proteins, nutrients, calories, and many more. So please stay and watch and continue watching us. Before we proceed though, please allow me to introduce our Philippine Bayanihan Society here in Singapore and give you a glimpse of what we do and who we are.
On behalf of the board of the Philippine Bayanihan Society in Singapore, I welcome you to the Bayanihan Center. The Bayanihan Center has opened its doors to support the educational, social and cultural needs of Filipinos and others in Singapore. Thanks to the strong partnership between the government of the Philippines and Singapore and the initiative of our founding president, Ms. Jenny Chua, and Vice President, Mr. Ning de Guzman. Since its establishment in 2001, more than 13,500 people have undergone skills training at the Bayanihan Center. But the Bayanihan Center is located at 43 Pasir Panjang Road. It provides classrooms, facilities and support for volunteers and community groups to conduct various short-term courses including basic and advanced computer training, nursing aid, hotel and restaurant management, dressmaking, caregiving, cooking, and baking and cosmetology. To foster the socio-cultural ties between Filipinos and Singaporeans, we also organize the Bayanihan Walk. It is an annual event to bring together people from all across sectors of Singapore in a fun walkathon to promote integration of Filipinos with the Singaporean community. Tara na mak, Bayanihan Center na.
I hope everyone now has a better understanding of what the Bayanihan Society is and what it does. We, the board members of the society, are all volunteers, sharing the desire to contribute to the betterment of every OFW. Please do not hesitate to approach us for any training or skill ideas or cultural activity suggestion. Just contact our Bayanihan Center officers, Cecil and Mindy. Tonight, we are delighted to have two special speakers talking about the Health and Nutrition 101 and their unusual journey. This will be an interactive presentation whereby the guest speakers will be sharing their journey in life and what has led them towards health and fitness. The first speaker is Mr. Aldrin Mercado, current Philippine national rugby player, bodybuilding enthusiast, and co-founder of Brickhouse Gym Singapore. He's been born and raised in Singapore and also finished his studies here. The second speaker is Mr. Gareth Fairhead, co-founder and senior trainer of Unreal Personal Training. He's been in Asia for 15 years, 5 years in Hong Kong, and now 10 years in Singapore. He comes from Australia, but now Singapore is his home. And now, without any further delay, let us welcome Mr. Aldrin Mercado. The floor is yours.
All right, can you hear me? Thank you so much for that introduction as well, Minnie. And I'm just going to be sharing my screen to present mode. All right. Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. All those that are tuning in on Facebook as well here in Zoom. First and foremost, Gareth and I would love to say a big thank you. Maraming salamat for everyone. First and foremost to the Bayanihan Society of Singapore for allowing us and giving us this opportunity to actually share our unreal journey and what it has been for us. Secondly, thank you so much for those of you who are joining us tonight. For those of you on Facebook as well, thank you so much and big welcome. We hope, number one, few things that we also like to add before we even start is that we hope that this talk will be informational. It will also be interactive as much as possible, and we want to make it as relaxed as possible for each and every one of us. So today is we're going to be going through, as what Minnie has mentioned as well, lots of topics in regards to health. You talk about carbs, you talk about protein, you talk about fats, anything that is under the block, and as much as possible, we also want to make sure that it's interactive. So the first and foremost, if you, as we all know here in Singapore, for those of you who are in Singapore, we are all very familiar when it comes to scanning. Okay, I'm sure you've got your Trace Together app that has already been there. I would like for all of you to actually scan this QR code, but in case you can't scan for any reason, just type in the comments because although I can't see you on the Facebook Live, what I can do is actually be able to look into the comments themselves. And what you can do is to actually type and answer and look at answer this question. The first question would be, when it comes to nutrition, what do you think is the most challenging for you? All right. What do you think is the most challenging aspect when it comes to nutrition? So for me, all right, I can eat and eat and eat and eat. All right, I can keep on going and keep on going, and I'm sure a lot of us also have the same issue. All right, so if eating is your hardest challenge when it comes to nutrition, put it down. For some of us, in fact, it's the opposite. We can't eat. You know, most of us, we have one meal a day and that's it. All right, we feel satisfied. Okay, so if you've got any, okay, I want you to put it down in the chat. For those of you who are joining us in Zoom itself, put it down in the chat, all right? Minnie, you've got Mindy as well. You've got Cecile on the chat as well. Put it down in the chat. I'd love to actually see your comments. And I will give everyone about 2 minutes and then we can get on. All right, if you can scan, pull it through. If not, have a go and scan this code. Okay, so a couple of comments coming in as well. I'm seeing I love to eat. I'm seeing ice cream is one of them. The hardest one is actually sweets. I see some of them sugary. Sugar. Okay, yeah, that's actually a very good one. I'm seeing sugar. What is this? I'm seeing good Filipino food as well. Oh, yes, of course, good Filipino food. Who can actually deny that? For sure, I'm sure there's a saying, right? Every Filipino love for food actually begins at home. So we all know whenever we go out, whenever we try other people's food, we always compare. Actually, my mom can actually cook much better than this. Usually, it's like that. Okay, great. Those are very good questions. So exactly what we always thought of when it comes to nutrition. I think a lot of us, the common consensus would be, when is it ever enough, all right? Or when do we actually stop, or do we actually need to avoid certain foods? So that's one. All right, let's go on to the next scanning on the procedure over here. So we talk about nutrition in the first part. The second one that I want everyone to think about, the second question would be in regards to the word bodybuilding, all right? Just the word bodybuilding. What comes to your mind when someone says bodybuilding, all right? Okay, bodybuilding. If you're thinking bodybuilding, if you're thinking Arnold Schwarzenegger, if you're thinking Jason Statham, I don't know, if you're thinking The Rock, all right? Okay, those are a few things that you can think about. So what actually comes to your mind when you have the word bodybuilding, all right? Then again, you can put in anything, just enjoy it, all right? So let me also do the scanning when it comes to bodybuilding. All right, so for me, just personally on my end, when the word bodybuilding comes up, I think about I think about consistency. All right. So a lot of us, that was a bit why consistency. A lot of us, when it comes to bodybuilding, there's a lot of not just hard work, but also consistency in that measure. So we talk about, being consistent with our diet, being consistent with our training, being consistent with our sleep. So many aspects when it comes to bodybuilding, but also, and I'm so I'm seeing Manny Pacquiao. Somebody put it down there. It's quite fun. I'm seeing big muscles. Okay. Yep. When it comes to body, okay. Ronnie Coleman. Okay. I think for some of us who are a bodybuilding fan, that's good. I'm seeing heavy weights. Okay. Fair enough. Fair. Do you actually need heavy weights to build your body? Okay. This can be also answered. Very good. Very good. I'm seeing hard. Okay, hard. Yes, bodybuilding is definitely hard. But okay, so looking at the, thank you so much once again for the question, for the answers that you provided. Amazing stuff. But when it comes to bodybuilding, a lot of us have this, common misconception, or rather, this common thought, in the sense that we think about overly muscular guys or women who go to the extremes when it comes to building their bodies, and you can imagine like these people are robots when it comes to food, when it comes to exercise. They wake up at 6 a.m. They drink 7 liters of water every single day. So paano yan? All right. Is it true when it comes to bodybuilding? Actually, the word bodybuilding, if we break it down as simple as it says, it's just basically building your body. So if someone is actually injured and is looking at rehabilitating, it's also bodybuilding, because you're trying to build what your body is actually used for that function. If someone is, let's say, someone that actually is not just recovering in that sense, but someone who actually wants a better posture, all right? Working from home, working on a desk, okay? We've got rounded shoulders. Someone wants their shoulders to actually be rolled back in that sense. How do we look at correcting our posture? That is also bodybuilding, because you're actually building your body to suit an optimum function, all right? So when it comes to bodybuilding, there is not just overly muscular guys or women or being really robotic in that sense. So, but very, very a big thank you for all those that have participated in the first two interactions. And here is basically my personal journey. All right, so this is actually my personal journey. So I was born and raised here in Singapore. I was born in the year 1995. So you can actually kind of guess how old I am already, or how young I am. So I'm a son of immigrant parents. My mom and dad. My dad actually migrated from the Philippines, so he's actually from Pasig. So for those of you from Pasig, woohoo! And then my mom is actually from Dumaguete, so she's actually Visaya. So do I know how to speak Visaya? No. Okay, pero marunong ko yung Tagalog. So pero konti lang. So please forgive me just in case. Baka na nosebleed ako, so just in case. But actually, my dad migrated from the Philippines in the late 80s, and he has been here ever since. In fact, this year and this month, actually at the end of the month, both of them are actually heading back to Dumaguete for their retirement. So for those of you who actually are familiar, my parents, my dad, immigrant parent, came to Singapore in the 80s, worked all the way through. Just a little bit about my family. I actually have 6 siblings. So I have 4 sisters and 2 brothers. So for those of you who are actually who actually are familiar in Singapore, it is not easy to raise 2 kids, 3 kids. But when you talk about 7 kids, they usually say, huh, really? 7 kids? Yeah. Both my parents, they are the epitome of hard work when it comes to me. So if you can actually see on the right picture, on the left, that's actually me in the tub. And the sport that I was actually taken upon when it comes to when it came to me when I was younger was actually rugby. So for those of you who are Filipinos, I'm sure rugby actually is actually different from what you think. It's not a sport. It's the yung solvent that people sniff. Okay, but not this one in this time. Rugby is actually a sport being played. From the UK, originated from the UK, and that's actually the sport that I became sort of familiar to and actually fell in love with. So not basketball. My dad tried to force me to play basketball, but it didn't happen. So I played rugby. basically, when I was growing up, I was very active in sports. I was involved in football. I was soccer, rugby. I was involved in badminton as well. But rugby was the one that I actually stuck with. So when I was growing up in high school, I actually managed to get a scholarship in the school, and I was actually a sports scholar, and I studied all the way through because of rugby. So rugby has given me so many opportunities and blessings, and I'm also internally grateful. So you have to understand that I was always involved in sports, but at the same time, I was also in love with eating. Right. So, like I said, that was the challenge for me. I ate and ate and ate and ate. As you all know, my mom and also one of my ninang, Tita Juanela, she is they're both amazing cooks. So I mostly stayed at home, and there was unli rice or unlimited rice, and I ate and ate and ate. And basically, what happened was at the age of 15, I was already tipping the scales at 100 kilograms. So when I was 15 years old, I was 100 kilograms. But take note, I'm not tall. I'm about 173 centimeters, 173 centimeters tall. So if you think about, for most of us Filipinos, it'd be mga 5'8", 5'7". Yeah, and I was 100 kilos by 15. But that didn't stop. Okay. As I progressed through the years, my weight actually increased as well. So by the time I was 18, I actually weighed my heaviest at 125 kilograms at that point of time. Also, at the age of 18, because of rugby, I was actually contacted by the scout for the Philippine Volcanoes, which is also the Philippine national rugby team. And that was when I actually made my first trip to the Philippines to represent Philippines in the Asian Rugby Championships back in 2014. But remember this, I was tipping the scales at 125 kilograms. To me, being big, all right, wasn't any matter, did not matter to me at all, because I played rugby, and being big has the physical advantage, but was it actually necessarily healthy for me? That actually struck a journey in me, because I remember just running onto the field, and I remember huffing and puffing when it was, so rugby is a game that is played for 80 minutes. I was I was begging to be removed from the field by the time it hit 50 minutes. So I knew, number one, that I was too heavy. And at the same time, I started to notice that my sleep was being affected. The moment I climbed 2 flights of stairs, I was huffing and puffing, I was sweating. Um, that's one. And as you can see in my face over here, that's my mom in the middle, my brother. I thought that I was strong since I went to the gym, since I was exercising, I was healthy. But right in that fact, when I visited a doctor, he said that my blood pressure was actually too high for a kid, rather a teenager at that point of time, just barely 18. And that was when I started to think that, hey, if I continue down this trajectory, it was not going to be nice. It was not going to be a long future for me. And that was when I started to pay attention about my diet. So as you can see, a bit of a transformation for me. At the start, that was me at 125 kilograms. I said, okay, since I've been, and remember this, I've been always active in sports. I've been always visiting the gym. At this point of time, I was pretty much visiting the gym maybe 5 times a week. But what was the change that I actually paid attention to? And that was my diet. So I knew from the start that it had to go hand in hand. That doesn't, you may be sitting down here and be listening to, yeah, I've been running, I've been visiting the gym, but I haven't seen any changes. This could be something that you actually could pay attention to, which is your diet. The other thing is also my sleep. Because of my weight, I was snoring and I didn't get enough sleep as well. Every single night, it was about 4 hours, and that was healthy enough. So for those of you who are right here and you're thinking about, hey, is my sleep actually being affected by my weight? It definitely does. It does affect your weight. And then obviously I started to pay attention to my diet, and back on this picture over here, as you can see, it's like a bodybuilding picture. I actually went to take the challenge for myself. I said, you know what? I'm 125 kilograms. I've been consistent in my gymming. Why not? Let's take it to a big challenge for me, which is where I actually participated in 2 bodybuilding competitions here in Singapore. And I said that was when I
decided to learn about nutrition, to really break it down and to find out what was the best and optimum nutrition for me, not just to build muscle, but also to, lose body fat, but at the same time carry on the function, whether or not it's for being an athlete, or whether or not it's being, a student in itself back then, and also a working adult in that sense. So I managed to build muscle in that sense, managed to even get a photo shoot done dito sa Bukit Timah. But there you go. So that's actually one of the few things that I could safely say that a diet and gym and being consistent actually goes hand in hand. And a lot of us actually underestimate the whole idea of consistency. So what was the thing that actually that actually got me going in terms of understanding what are the mindset when it comes to nutrition and also diet and everything else? So the first few things that I did was to break down my mindset. So there are intrinsic motivators, extrinsic motivators, and also goals. So I'll be talking about the intrinsic motivator. So it's doing something because you enjoy it. So something that actually is motivating enough because it's your passion, because it's something that you love to do and you enjoy to do. So for me, I understood that, hey, going to the gym was easy enough because I enjoy it. I enjoy playing sports. For those of us who are sitting down here, maybe that could also be your factor. But understandably so, intrinsic motivation, okay, is not sustainable if you don't pair it up with your extrinsic motivation. So I needed to find something that you do something because you know that there is a benefit. So for that, I knew that, yes, although I enjoy going to the gym, I don't know anything much about nutrition. So that was when I started to explore and to educate and to find out which is the most sustainable measure when it comes to diet. And then from there, I broke it down to SMART goals, whether it's specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and also time-bound. So first and foremost, for intrinsic motivators, there are first steps that you can actually take a look at. Number one, it's self-direct. You don't need someone to wake you up and say, hey, let's go to the gym. For me, that isn't a problem. You tell me, in fact, now in Singapore, now that most gyms are closed because of the heightened alert, that is actually like making me like a bit uneasy. But for me, going to the gym wasn't a problem. Next thing, motivation to get better, to master a skill. Is it going to a gym to understand what kind of programs that you're actually looking to? The purpose, connect it to a larger cause. For me, it was the fear of actually dying because of my blood pressure that was highlighted by the doctor. And then at the same time, the barriers. What are the barriers that got to me when it comes to intrinsic motivators? Was I following the right program? Was I actually looking into the diet that was the right plan for me? Next, if you actually take a look at extrinsic motivators, these are external rewards. What are the few steps that you take a look at? Sometimes extrinsic motivators are harder because you do it because you know that there's a benefit, but it's not necessarily enjoyable. So for example, you have little interest in the activity, you lack the skills to get started. So what you do is to actually have short-term motivator for a specific purpose. So for me, what I did was I basically said, okay, I'm going to stick to this diet plan and I'm going to make sure that it goes down. A lot of us have plans when it comes to losing weight. We say, I want to lose 10 kilos by the time it hits December. And then you have your sister's birthday in November, you have your brother's birthday in September, you have your cousin's birthday, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, maybe not December, maybe next year pa. And then, when do you actually start? So for a lot of us, we have these big goals. Why not break it down? Because that is actually going to make it more sustainable. That's what I did. I went by 10 kilograms. So every time I lose 10 kilograms, I knew that I was in the right path in that way. And I knew that it was something that was going to be motivating for me to follow a diet plan. So it's basically filling it long-term and you fill it with extra motivators in that sense. So when it comes to directing your goals, one of the first few things that I did was to actually make it specific, make it measurable, make it attainable, understanding that it's attainable, and also making it realistic. Whether or not it's also time bound is also very specific in itself. So for one of the first few things that I did was to say, okay, look, I need a specific plan. So I got myself a coach. His name is Ben, actually. So now we're working actually together. What I did was actually make sure that it was specific enough that is suitable for me. So I can't go to someone else outside and say, oh, this is what I did for my diet and you can do it too as well, because that's not specific. Because I had to consider other factors that I am. Number one, I'm an athlete. I need to make sure that I perform well in the sport. I need to, so does it, these are so many different shaders that you would need to understand. The other thing is also make it measurable. What am I measuring against? What am I looking at? When it comes, where am I at the current moment when it comes to gym, when it comes to diet at the same time? Is it attainable? Is also something that you need to you need to understand. A lot of us, we say we want to lose 20 kilograms, but why not just think about losing the first kilogram first? A lot of us are like that. Is it attainable in terms of losing this amount of weight within this time frame? Because we have to always understand that it has to be specific and also sustainable. There's no point losing 10 kilograms this month only to put on twice the amount the next day. All right. And that's where we actually have to understand and also be realistic within ourselves. So combining all of them, it's like a yin and yang. You have your intrinsic motivators, your passions, you have your extrinsic motivators, the ones that actually understand the rewards and to make it sustainable. And then if you come up with a goal that is actually SMART, S.M.A.R.T, combining them together would actually create a sustainable platform for you and be able to actually be a more enjoyable process as compared to following fed diets. So, which is actually comes to our next portion, which is the knowledge of nutrition. I am confident that all of us have heard, when it comes to going on Facebook, when it comes to, going on Instagram, there's so many 101,000 kinds of diet fads that we have. We see our actresses out there endorsing a product and saying, okay, you can actually sit ups and lose 5% of body fat. And is it actually something that is it actually sustainable? What did the science say and all that? So a lot of us, we encounter all sorts of diet. Number one, is the yo-yo diet actually bad for you? So for example, a lot of us say, okay, drastically dropping calories. I'm gonna fast for 3 days because I felt bad that I ate so much lechon during Christmas, and then we go without alcohol, or we only drink shakes, and then yes, we start to see results. But again, like I said, is it sustainable in the long run for you? Right? Do all diets of any kind work? But the understanding is it actually sustainable for you? The other thing is also, I'm sure we've all heard of this, avoiding carbs. We have so many friends that come there and say, hey, sis, Brad, I don't eat carbs right now and I lost 5 kilograms. And you're like, oh my goodness, I should do that as well. So, okay, your rice, oh my goodness, all of us, I'm sure we have rice cookers at home. We start not to use it. We switch it off. We keep it in the cupboard. Or bread, we throw it away and then we avoid carbs. We say that sugar is evil, but is that actually sustainable? Okay, again, the whole idea is being, the whole understanding is about calories. And again, like I said, diet and everything else is also making it personable. It's also making it sustainable. The other thing is also, I'm sure, very similar to what they all know, carbs. We talk about a keto diet, right? A lot of us are like, oh yeah, kasi keto siya, eh? That's why he's losing like 10 kilograms and look at him. Like, that does work as well. It does, and I'm gonna admit that it was actually very effective for me in terms of losing the first 10 kilograms or so when I hopped onto this keto diet. But again, like I said, if you're an athlete, to make it personable, do you actually need to be on a keto diet? What I did find was actually that I needed to perform on the field as well, and carb is also personable. The other thing is also understanding about SICO, right? SICO, which is calories in and then calories out. Understandably so, what is your calories? Do I actually need to avoid carbs? Do I actually need to avoid, how much protein do I need? All these are actually factors that would actually be beneficial to you creating a sustainable diet. That's number one. But number two, making it understandably so that it's actually healthier enough for you, because you don't actually have to avoid certain foods. You don't actually have to fast. You don't actually have to demonize any macronutrient in that sense. Understanding your lifestyle and also understanding the calories that you need would actually provide for you a more sustainable plan in that sense. All right. So without further ado, that is actually the end of my portion. I love to actually introduce Mr. Gareth Fairhead right over here. Mr. Gareth Fairhead, I've met him long before. Long before, actually, quite a few years ago. And number one thing that I would love to say about Gareth is that he has an amazing heart. He's a father of 3 kids, and just right at, whenever I see him at the gym, he's just Mr. Do, Mr. Do, Mr. Do, Mr. Do, and he has a big, amazing heart, and it just shows how this man just leads by example and just makes sure that everyone is included in the interaction. So it's been a pleasure and an honor to actually be working with Gareth, and I've learned so much, and I've always been constantly inspired by this guy. So, Mr. Gareth Fairhead, here you go.
Thank you very much for that very warm welcome. And I must say, it's amazing to have you on the team as well. You bring a ray of sunshine that was perhaps not there before you joined, so thank you. Okay, so about me, Minnie introduced me earlier. I'm a father of 3. I'm from Australia, from a small country town of 100 people. And basically growing up, it was meat and vegetables eating, but it was a lot of hard labor work. So I'm from a family where my father was a shearer, and as a 8, 9, 10-year-old boy, I'd be in the farm, pulling the wool off the sheep and fleece and going under the shed and shoveling out manure, and doing very strenuous work. So I've always been fit and healthy. But my story took a turn when I moved to Hong Kong, and I actually compressed my cervical vertebrae, my C5, 6, and 7. And so I actually have no feeling in this thumb anymore. It's you put a pin in there and I don't feel it. So what happened was I put on 30 kilos in about 2 months. I went from 78 to over 100 kilos because I was in traction. I couldn't do any exercise. So that's where my journey into this world kind of began. And that's, so I moved to Hong Kong. I moved from Hong Kong to Singapore. And you heard Aldrin talk about this gentleman called Ben. Ben was actually my personal trainer to support my rehabilitation journey. And through working with Ben, I was doing my own personal diplomas on online coaching, nutrition. I did a course through McDonald University in the UK, which is very science-based nutrition. So that's where I am today. So what's the next slide there, Harvey? Okay, so just some case studies. We're talking about nutrition, and a lot of people we find say, oh, it's too hard to start, or I can't do it. So here are 2 case studies of my own clients, actually. The lady who was 66 years old is actually my mother-in-law, and we did this remotely. Okay, so she lost, from memory, 25 kilos, and she's kept it off. This has now been 3 years later that she has kept off the weight. Every Thursday morning, she sends me a text message with her weight. So this is her keeping herself accountable to her own health and wellness journey. Okay, so I supported her in her nutrition approach. I taught her how to use an app on the phone, MyFitnessPal. Many of you may have heard of that app. It's very basic. Do you need to track calories? No, you don't. But if you're having a challenge with your weight, it is a tool that is very useful for you to learn where you're going wrong. So an example of that is, so Christine is my mother-in-law's name. So Chris sent me a message. Hey, I just made this, well, she's calling me right now. Speak of the devil. She put in this recipe into MyFitnessPal, and she said, Gareth, can you please check this recipe? There's 550 calories, and it's a small little chocolate cake. So I'm like, let me look. I had a look. I'm like, yeah, Chris, that dessert you made is 550 calories. She goes, I normally have 3 of these for dessert. So she was basically having her entire calorie allowance in her dessert, and hence her photo on the left being a little bit larger. So once she understood this and learned this, she's been able to keep it off for 3 years later. So it's investing in your knowledge to understand where you're falling down, okay? The lady on the right, Jackie, she trained with me up until she was 41 weeks pregnant, okay? So we talk a lot about training for health, keeping your mobility, all these sort of things. Jackie is a 40-year-old. So as far as childbirth goes, it's not optimal for a lady to give birth over 40. You have a lot of nuances that happen within your body. But she's back at the gym training now because she was able to train all the way through. Now, when you talk about nutrition in pregnancy, there are some things that you need to understand. You don't want to have a lot of deep sea fish. The mercury is a little bit too much for your little baby growing and things like that. And there is a rate of growth that you're supposed to kind of achieve. And different nationalities have a different growth rate. Caucasians seem to get a little bit bigger than some of the Asian nationalities. But you don't want to just start eating for two. That's not the case. There is a calculation to understand how much extra calories you can eat. But yeah, this shows you that training and nutrition is for anyone and everyone. Okay, maybe the next slide there, Harvey. Okay, Unreal 2.0. This is quite exciting. If you are based in Singapore, please come and see us. So I spoke about Ben. So Ben years ago helped me recover. And so as a person, I wanted to give back to Singapore. The best way for me to give back to Singapore was to create a facility where I could impart my knowledge to people in similar situations to me. The first Unreal was not as pretty as this. The first Unreal was quite grungy and pushed together. But over the last 3-year journey that Unreal has had, we have just opened our new facility and this is it. Now, our prime focus is not about bodybuilding, as Harvey was speaking about before. We definitely do that, but we like to classify ourselves as a facility of education. Okay, it's helping our clients understand, nutrition, training, and Harvey made a good point about his sleep. Results are a combination of training plus recovery. Recovery is actually nutrition and rest. And a lot of people in the CBD do not get anywhere near enough rest. Now, when you are asleep, that is when your body starts to, there's my cat, is when your body builds your muscle, okay? So if you're only getting 4 hours of sleep a night, you're really not getting enough chance for your body to flush the toxins, start building from what you've done. Another point actually I like to make is in regards to alcohol. Now, I do drink alcohol, but you need to understand if you have alcohol, your sleep and your recovery is much less, okay? The quality is reduced. So try not to drink every day of the week. You have a process in your body called the Krebs cycle, which is the process of your body breaking food down into energy or ATP. So you need to have, sorry, my cat is saying hello. So understanding that, but it takes 72 hours for your body to flush the alcohol for your Krebs cycle to work. So if you're drinking every second or third day, your Krebs cycle is never operating correctly. This is the sort of things that we teach our clients. Okay, is it important for everyone to know? No, you don't need to remember it, but you need to understand the basics and the principles about why you are maybe stuck in your weight gain. So yeah, anything else to add there, Harvey? Well, what's the next slide? I think that's Q&A. So maybe we open it up to anyone on the board. I can't see the chat, Harvey, but maybe if there's any questions, you can help.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there you go. So yeah, thank you so much, Gareth, for your coming in and also sharing your journey. And yeah, it's been inspirational to actually hear how much you've grown in terms of just basing on the knowledge, and at the same time, like, thank you so much for the mentorship and everything else and the guidance as well. So it really, yeah, it's really enjoyable in that sense. So again, now we're going to be opening the floor to everyone else who are chiming in on Facebook or even in the chat themselves in Zoom. Writer questions, any questions? I think we can.
While you're waiting for a question there, Harvey, let me just add one thing.
Go ahead. Yeah.
I used to run marathons. So in Singapore, when I fixed my neck, I used to run marathons, and I'd run 70 kilometers a week. And I'd do the Standard Chartered Bank Marathon here. Wasn't a great time, but I'd get it in 4.5 hours around that time. 1 year I did 5.5 hours. It was a bit slow. But I just couldn't for the life of me get a visible six-pack. Yeah. And that is why I took the nutrition course, because I'm like, I'm doing so much work. Why don't I have a six-pack? And it was only then I realized I wasn't eating anywhere near enough calories or food. And so my recovery was dented because I wasn't eating enough. Now, Harvey, Aldrin, I can eat a lot, right?
Yeah.
I was purposely not eating because I thought that was the best thing to do. So understanding that actually you have the macronutrients and micronutrients, and your body needs a certain amount to sustain. So that is also very important to understand.
Absolutely. Yep. There you go. Okay, so yeah, we're opening up the floor to the questions. So if you've got any questions from Facebook, okay, what is considered a drastic change in terms of weight in kilograms? I once lost 5 kilograms in 3 months by eating less carbo and really tried to avoid sugar. All right, I think Mr. Gareth can actually think about this since you also had a quite
So
yeah.
5 kilograms in 3 months is actually very good. It's understanding different size bodies have a different rate as well. So I'm 90 kilograms, you might be 50 kilograms. So your 3 kilos is a much greater percentage weight drop than my 3 kilos. But break it down to this. For every deficit, so every reduced amount of 7,700 calories that you have, you lose 1 kilo of body fat. Okay. Now, if you break that into a normal diet, like so a man my age and my size, roughly 2,000 calories a day. If I was to drop 500 calories a day, okay, down to 1,500, I'll be very hungry, but I'll probably lose a kilo every 2 weeks. Now, that is not drastic, but it's quite aggressive. It's quite aggressive. It's a 25% deficit. So we could do your calculations to see what that is. What's interesting though, is if you cut carbohydrates out of your body, you lose a lot of water weight. So for every 1 gram of carbohydrate in your body, you actually hold 2 to 3 grams of water. So you have 100 grams of carbohydrates in your body, you actually have 200 to 300 grams of water. You drop that carb out, like a third to 2/3 of your weight loss is actually just water weight. Okay, it's not actual fat loss. So we need to consider body composition versus scale weight. It's two very different things.
Yeah, absolutely, Gareth. And I think I'll just build on your point as well in terms of a lot of people coming in and saying, hey, I took out carbs and, there you go, I've lost 3 kilograms. And I think there's that also that misperception, I would say, that people pay attention a lot on the scale weight in difference towards, how your body's actually reacting to, the carbohydrates and everything else, and also water. So like I said, it's more on building a sustainable diet, something that you can actually follow, and something that is actually right for you. That's actually something that we always advocate. All right, so hope we answered that question. Second question is, can you build muscle and lose fat at the same time? All right, Gareth, there you go. Big yes.
You absolutely can. If you are someone like Aldrin or myself who trains a lot, it's much harder to build muscle while you're losing fat because our body's kind of accustomed or trained. If you are someone who is perhaps a little bit heavier set and you haven't trained a lot, you absolutely can build muscle and lose fat at the same time. Now, if I was to go in a deficit, so you have less calories than so there's a thing called basal metabolic rate, and that is a number of calories your body requires to sustain homeostasis. So if I was just to lay on the couch all day, do nothing, to sustain my vital organs to operate, I have a threshold, a limit. Now, if I start walking around all day, I have what they call NEAT, a non-exercise activity thermogenics, and that is an additional calorie requirement. Then I exercise. So there's, the exercise requirement. So there's all these factors that come into play. But provided you actually are in a deficit and you're training harder than normal and you're sleeping, getting your recovery, your body can build weight. But it'll be at a slower rate than if you're in a surplus. So if I was to have my basal metabolic rate and I had a 10% surplus above that and I was training really hard and recovering well, sleeping, I'm going to possibly put on more muscle than if I was in a deficit and training and recovering.
There you go. You can absolutely eat carbs as well, right, Gareth?
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I meet so many people, they're like, oh, you eat so much rice. I'm like, rice is good for you. So here's an interesting point. So protein is essential for living tissue. So it's a building block of cellular life, okay? Fat is critical for brain function and the endocrine system, so our hormone production. So women need a lot more fat than men because their hormone system, their endocrine system is a little bit more complicated than the guys. It also lubricates joints and stuff like that. Now, carbohydrates is one of the macronutrients that you wouldn't die if you didn't have. But it is the body's preferred energy source. So it's a very, very good energy source. So someone like Aldrin who running around the rugby field, carbohydrates will keep him energized and going. Yep. If you're someone who's quite sedentary and don't do a lot of exercise, you can reduce your carbohydrates, but still have some because they do keep you energized. I have a lot of carbs a day. I like carbs.
Yeah. All right. Awesome. Good. So the third question is actually, can I go to the gym if I am too skinny? Absolutely. Yeah. I think for I'll answer this. I'll start off with this question as well. I think a lot of people, again, the word skinny is really like, well, what is skinny? Like for me, if I lose 5 kilograms and I look myself in the mirror, I'll be like, oh yeah, I'm too skinny now. But again, it's relative. But absolutely, the gym is open and welcoming to every single one. Everyone starts somewhere. Whether or not you're too skinny or too big, that's actually one of the few things that you don't actually have to worry about. Again, like I said, it's also coming into a gym and actually knowing what you actually need to do, which is why the first portion of the webinar that we actually emphasize is actually having a sustainable goal that you can actually follow and actually follow through a right and systematic plan. That's actually what we advocate about. Again, like we said. We're talking about resistance training in relative to, again, based on your foundation. Are you basically starting off as a beginner, no idea what weights are? Is it something that you need to actually build your foundation before, again, because like I said, we have to understand that it's sustainable. You don't want to be going to a gym, getting injured, and then basically sabotaging your plans to actually be a better and a healthier individual. Because there's no point lifting too much weight or lifting unsafely and then just getting injured and then throwing your goals into the trash. Again, like I said, the other thing is also emphasizing is. We have also seen individuals who don't even look like they actually live, but when they actually perform the exercise, you're like, wow, this is something that I'm pretty sure you've heard of something of this individuals as well. Again, it's also relative in that sense. So hopefully, yeah. But yeah, you're never too skinny to enter the gym for sure. This is a question, Gareth. People tend to exercise less when they have an ailment like painful joints. Any advice? There you go.
Actually, interestingly enough, painful joints can happen when muscles aren't activating. So if you consider your musculoskeletal system, you have your skeleton. Off your skeleton, you have striated the muscles on the skeleton. Then you have exterior muscles. So you have different layers of muscles. And you might have a sore shoulder. And what might be happening is your front delt, so your anterior deltoid is not engaging. So you're getting pulled back, or your rear delt is not engaging. So you're rolling forward. So when you go to grab something, it's quite painful in here. But when you train and you train correctly and you learn to set correct posture, so you do postural improvements, that ailment can actually go away. It could be, it could be unfortunate where you've got cartilage wear and tear and you have something that is not really reversible per se. But a lot of the times the discomfort or the little aches and pains are caused from not being balanced. So as a person, we are not symmetrical. Left to right, front to back, we're not symmetrical. We're not supposed to be. But we should try to build ourselves to be as symmetrical as we can, meaning if we're at the computer all day and you're hunched over, we should be doing something to pull our shoulders back, okay? That's going to create and remove all that trouble. So my advice for you is to ascertain, is it something like cartilage or bone issue, or is it because you're inactive? If you're inactive, get off the couch, buy some resistance bands and just start doing some gentle stuff. Go on YouTube and look up Joe Wicks. He has some amazing things to do at home. Yep. And once you start getting confidence in what you're doing, then go to the gym. A gym should be a place that is welcoming. So find a gym that suits you. I've been to gyms and I walked in, I've just turned around and walked out. It wasn't for me. But, the question before about being too skinny, there is no too skinny or too fat. You are you. You should be comfortable in your body to go in. And the gym and the environment should be welcoming you, okay? So there are lots of places that are like that. So just find the place that is like that.
Absolutely, yeah. And correctly what you said. I think you basically hit the nail on, hit a hammer on the nail when you said start moving, and also understanding the whole idea of the body function in itself. So in our gym, just to chime in as well, we do have recovering patients, rehab, those who are going for rehab. Personally, I've got actually quite a couple of clients that are coming in because, because of either ACL injuries or torn meniscus, and there's only so many body weight home exercise that you can actually do. So what the gym actually allows them to is to target the right muscle groups that would actually be beneficial to the function of the muscle groups in itself in terms of their recovering. So for example, like you would never find a close enough replication of the leg extension to perform to actually build the quad. You can do as many squats as you can, but again, if you're recovering, is squats actually the best mode of function for you to actually perform. So again, that's something that is get moving, definitely something beneficial. Last question, I think. What do you think of the different weight loss programs like keto, intermittent fasting, etc., fad diets? There you go, Gareth.
There you go. Yeah. So I think every single diet in the planet or on the planet has a place. Okay. Now, is it best for you? Maybe not. But we need to understand that every diet works on one principle, and that is calorie deficit. If you're in a calorie deficit, you're going to lose weight. If you're in a calorie surplus, you're going to put on weight. There's no magic about any diet. So a diet that removes carbohydrates has removed 33% of your possible food options. You are naturally going to eat less food. Okay. What you don't realize is you have less options. You think it's that you got rid of carbs. No, it's not. You're eating less calories. Similarly to any other diet that intermittent fasting, for example, if you do the window where you only eat from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., it's pretty hard to eat 2,500 calories in that period of window that you're giving yourself. So again, you're going into a calorie deficit. You just didn't realize you're going into a calorie deficit. So I think any program is good if it works for you and is sustainable for you. So in our gym, we have clients that do intermittent fasting. We have clients that do keto. We have pescatarians. We have vegetarians. We have carnivores. We have all sorts. So if you're struggling with your weight and you want to try some things, try some things, but give yourself 6 to 8 weeks doing one particular type. Okay, you need, like Harvey was at the very beginning spoke about consistency. You need to do something for a period of time to see if it is sustainable and suitable for you. You may find that you do the keto diet, but then after 3 to 4 weeks, your energy levels are flat. You get cranky, you snap at your kids, you snap at your husband or your wife, you get cranky with your boss. Is it really sustainable for you? Maybe it's not the best diet or best approach. But that said, every diet option has its place. So we'll never say don't do that. I will say that people forget that protein is essential and fats are essential. So make sure you're getting the adequate amount. But apart from that, yeah, any kind of approach is okay. And play with them. What I actually do is, so sorry to go on, but what I do is Monday to Friday, I eat very, very well. Saturday, Sunday, I take my kids and go get ice cream. And then, because that works for me, that's my sustainable approach. So Monday to Friday, I'm very strict. And if visitors come over, I'm like, sorry, no, I'm good with this. I won't have dessert tonight. But yeah, Friday, Saturday night, we have movie night. We have movie snacks. Saturday, we go up to the ice cream shop. So that's my own kind of dieting regime. So you can mix and match them. Yeah.
There you go. There you go. Love that answer, actually. Yeah. Saturday, Sunday, hot pancakes come out. There you go. All right. Question, Gareth. I think this is also something that you would love to address as well. For women, do they get bulky if doing heavy lifting? Wow.
Yeah. So bulky is interesting. Bulky is, so we have a lot of clients that come and say, we want to get toned. I want to get toned. The reality is you're either in atrophy, losing muscle, or you're in hypertrophy, growing muscle. Okay, so you're in 2 states. It's like fat gain and fat loss. You're neither lipolysis or liponeogenesis. You're either putting on fat or losing fat. But to put on muscle is not easy. You actually have to really train for it. And there's a term called hypertrophy, which is a type of training to build your muscle. Okay, there are different ways. You have muscle damage, mechanical tension, metabolic stress. You look at the time and attention. Now, Aldrin and I understand this because we actually train to get bigger. We want to get bigger. But we have a lot of clients who train and can train heavy, and we're not getting bulky per se. Now, if they want to, they could. Okay, you can, but you can also train to get strong and not get bulky.
There you go. All right. Perfect. Awesome. The other one, next question: how often does one do workouts? I'll start off with this one. I think it's really relatively to quite a few things, like what Gareth mentioned before. Training when it comes to the whole idea of bodybuilding or becoming a healthy individual. Quite a few factors you have to come in play. Number one, how often can you actually train? How much do you actually sleep? And then how consistent can you actually be with your diet? So that all these three determinants actually determine how often can you actually work out. Because the whole idea is that you don't grow in the gym, you actually grow when you recover. So, and then recovery, like I said, it's based on a couple of things as well: sleep and diet. So if you were to be coming in, let's say I'm talking about for example, I have a current client, a couple of clients that are recovering. All right. And they're undergoing rehabilitation. Do they actually need to come into the gym every single day and then train the same muscle group? Obviously not. Those are the few things that you're actually looking into. How fast can they actually recover? That's one. The other thing is also, a lot of times we have a goal and we say, I'm going to go to the gym 5 times a week, but I'm also going to drink every single day, and I'm also going to sleep 3 hours a day. So yeah, you may be able to do that for the first week, but then the second week starts to become, detrimental to your result, because obviously you're not recovering well. You might go to the gym as much as you can. You might be pumping iron as much as you can, but then again, you start to see dampening your performance, your recovery, as well as just going down the drain. And then after a while, you'll be like, oh, okay, why is it not working for me? So there are so many different factors. I think the number one, I think, like, again, the understanding to build your foundation is one, and also understanding that the three aspects. So how often can you actually train? Meaning to say, how often can you actually go to the gym? Right now, it's a privilege because gyms are basically close-ish for now. Secondly is, how consistent can you be with your diet? And then at the same time, be able to track your sleep as much as you can. And if you get all these three in, you're in for a shot in terms of being more consistent in your diet. One more question is in. I see. Is that one more? I think Minnie is going to be typing it.
Well, that's typing. Let me add on to Aldrin's comment about how often. So when I was in an office job, I'd go 3 times a week, and I was getting my gains. I was benefiting. I now train 5 times a week. I recover and I have my nutrition on point. I probably could do 6 or 7 times, but I choose not to because I like to have time with the family. So you need to look at your financial impact, the costs for you to train.
Yeah.
You look at your social impact, the time away from your friends, your family impact. When you train, are you actually happier? We have a lot of clients who train, and their spouse will say, I have to train because if I don't train, apparently I'm grumpy. So you need to look at your whole lifestyle as well. It's not a chore, it's a luxury to be able to go to a gym and train. Actually, I think it's a luxury to have the ability to look after you or invest in your health and wellness.
Absolutely.
Don't look at it as a negative thing. Like it's a good thing. You have the knowledge, have the ability, and look after yourself, but don't overtrain.
Yep, that's one thing. Last question. Should I see a doctor first if I decided to start exercising in the gym? Yeah.
Okay, want me to take that?
Go ahead, Gareth. Yeah, go ahead.
If you are a young individual or a healthy individual and you've had no complications, no heart conditions, no injury, you're not postpartum, then you don't need to come in. We as a business have PARQ, which is a physical activity readiness questionnaire. So we take our own clients through a thing to make sure that they're okay. But if you are someone who is maybe 3 to 6 to 8 months postpartum, you might want to check that if you have a diastasis recti, that your separation has come back together. If you are someone who's perhaps have a high blood pressure, maybe you want to get that checked. So it's really individual. It's up to you. But if you are, by general standards, a healthy, well-being person, you don't need to see a doctor to start training. Just be mindful and just keep your intensity to a certain level where you're comfortable. And as you build up your strength, your conditioning, your metabolic support, then you push yourself. Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Thank you so much to Gareth. And also big thank you to everyone who've chimed in. Lots of interesting questions, huh? And yeah, really, really interesting to see them. And also thank you so much for your participation. All right, I'll go on to the next slide. Once again, big thank you on behalf of Unreal and also Brickhouse If you would love to actually visit us on social media, head on down to Facebook, Unreal Personal Training. Like us, give us a like. Instagram as well. Follow us at Unreal Personal Training SG. Yeah, you'll love to. We post information every single time. So some of the information about diets, we post them up all for free. You can actually have a look. Actually, currently, right now, we're posting more information about pre and postpartum. In regards to pregnancy. So that's actually what we do, what we believe as a company as well. We are on LinkedIn. Visit us, Unreal Personal Training. And also, if you would love to actually contact us, take down his number, 9711-5905. Send us an email, inquiry, and also, if you would love to visit us, we are more than happy to welcome you with open arms. And obviously, we are located on 139 Cecil Street and on the 11th floor. More than happy to welcome each and every one of us, each and every one of you guys out there. Just say, hey, I attended the webinar. I think we can arrange a free coffee, Gareth, or free drink. Just come in and see. But yeah, that'll be awesome to have you guys visit us as well. As normal Filipino tradition, we always have a photo shoot right after webinar. So, Minnie, yeah, for sure, we can have a photo shoot. You guys stop sharing. Okay.
Hi. Thank you so much. That's a lot of information and a lot of good information that sometimes we just misconstrued on dieting and all the different types of schemes out there. I mean, sometimes it's effective. I mean, to some people, keto is good. To some people, that intermittent fasting is good. I did once try not having that much carbo, and it was effective when I was younger, but I think it's getting more difficult as you grow older. The metabolism rate is really much slower, so that affects, right, our body, how our body sort of absorbs everything that we eat. So yeah, as we get older, I guess you just have to be more conscious on the number of calories we intake and that we burn out. So yeah, thanks so much. And it's a lot of learning though. I mean, I hope everyone who's listening learned something. It's very useful. And what I can sort of remember well is calories in, calories out. So I need to know the number of calories per the food that I take.
Yep.
I know some people and some friends, they know how much calorie is like one piece of broccoli or one leg of chicken. So it is it's good. So we learn a lot. Thank you so much, and thank you for your time sharing your life and your experience and how we can sort of imitate how successful you were. So yes,
awesome.
Thank you so much. And now, before we proceed and go towards the end of our webinar, may I call upon Ms. Christy Vicentina, who will give us a closing remarks. Christy is our PBSS Vice President. So, Christy, please.
Thank you, Minnie. Good evening to our friends and kababayans in Singapore. To our families and friends in the Philippines, mabuhay. On behalf of Philippine Bayanihan Society Singapore, allow me to say thank you to the people who helped us for tonight's webinar. Thank you, Mr. Aldrin Mercado and Mr. Gareth Fairhead. Thank you for inspiring us to take care of our body inside and out. And thank you for reminding us that health is indeed wealth and that the best time for us to take action on it is today. Special thank you to Dr. Eugene Macalinga for introducing us to our guest speakers and for introducing us this topic. Maraming salamat, Doc E. Maraming salamat din to all our friends who always help us for sharing and promoting our webinars. Philippine Embassy Singapore, led by His Excellency Ambassador Joseph Del Maria, Richard and Rex of FLPH, Lynn of CDE, Faust, Millet of FAST, Miss Clemens of Overseas Skills Program and Services, Rated J, FAS, UAP, Miss Lucy Tagle of Miss Petit, Ateneo LSE, Kabayanihan, and Team BNG. And if I may invite you to join the BNG Healthy Run 2021, let's all run as one healthy community, and for every runner that we commit, BNG will donate $1 each to Philippine Bayanihan Society Singapore, to COH or Christian Outreach for Handicap, and DEWF or Domestic Employees Welfare Fund. So let's all run as one healthy community while donating to these charitable organizations. Syempre, maraming salamat to all our participants in Zoom and on Facebook for making this webinar a success. Please don't forget to click the like button for us. Again, maraming salamat, good evening, and mabuhay. Back to you, Minnie.
Thank you, Christy. Thank you for that. And yes, we look forward to the BNG run, of which Bayanihan Society is one of the beneficiaries. So thank you very much in advance. If you wish to visit the Bayanihan Center, it is located at 43 Pasir Panjang Road, and the nearest MRT station is Labrador Park MRT. Although right now we're in a heightened alert, phase 2 restriction, so hindi po open ang Bayanihan Center for now. So wait po until restrictions are laxed. So, but in any case, it's in 43 Pasir Panjang Road po. And then please like our Facebook page. That's facebook.com/Bayanihan Society SG. Also follow us on Instagram at Bayanihan Society SG. And also please support us by donating via giving.sg/PBSS. In addition, we also welcome support via sponsorship or advertisements in our webinars and other projects. We will always welcome any support. As you know, Philippine Bayanihan Society is a non-profit organization. So tulong lang po kung gusto niyo. One of the projects that we have and one of the activities that we have is our annual Bayanihan lecture. The topic is Bayanihan during COVID-19 pandemic, experiences and future directions, to be held on August 29, 2021, Sunday, from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Our keynote speaker is Father Aristotle C.D., who is a Jesuit, Society of Jesus, and has a PhD. He is the president of ERDA Foundation and president of Xavier School in the Philippines. So that's our annual Bayanihan lecture on August 29. Our next Bayanihan webinar, though, is on Thursday, August 5, August 5, 2021, and the topic is Understanding Common Ear and Hearing Problems. Ayan, mga tenga po ang attention natin sa next seminar. The guest speaker is Dr. Rachel He NC, fellow. She's a fellow of the Philippine Society of Otolaryngology and head and neck surgery consultant. Head and neck surgery. She's a consultant of allied care expert, Medical Center Pateros. She's also a consultant at Center Medical International Philippines. And she's also a consultant at Manila Med at Medical Center Manila. So that will be our next speaker, Dr. Rachel He NC, about our ears. So please join us on August 5. So this is Minerva Lau, and together with the board and staff of the Philippine Bayanihan Society Singapore, we say thank you for joining us tonight and see you at the next webinar. Ingat po kayo, be careful, wear your mask always, and safe distance. So thank you, good night, and God bless.
Thank you.